Okay, the next part of the human alterations is called open eyes. So I'm going to take wedding 1 and wedding 2, click and drag them in there so that they've got both of them here, wedding 1, wedding 2. Now we want to work on these together, so the easiest way is to go up to Window, choose Arrange, and we're going to tile all vertically. So if you have more than one document open, you want to close them so that you just have these two. Okay, now if you look at this, we've got she's smiling and looking lovely, and he's got his eyes closed, whereas she's got hair in front of her face and his eyes are open. So, and this happens a lot, so this is actually a trick that a lot of photographers, especially wedding photographers, use quite a bit. So first we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on what's called this clone tool. So it's right here, it's below the paintbrush, the clone stamp tool. And we want to make sure that aligned is checked. And then we're going to go to Window and find where it says Clone Source. And we just want to leave this open for right now. And then go ahead and click inside of wedding 2 to make sure that we're in the right one. And then you're going to hold down Alt. And this is choosing what we're going to clone. So we're going to clone this eye. And then go ahead and switch over to wedding 1. Now, it might be hard to tell, but if you look at the two of them, this picture is actually slightly smaller. So we need to increase our clone source just a little bit. And that's where it is right here, width and height. So we're going to set it to 105%. And they both change because there's this little chain on it telling that it's locked. Okay, so change it to 105% so that what's being copied over is a little bit larger than the original, is what that's going to do. So then I'll just go ahead and minimize this, and I need to make a new layer. You want to make a new layer. And I'm just going to say clone eyes for this layer. Okay, now there's the eye. So, and if I feel like it, I could make it bigger, so I'm getting kind of his whole face with it, which is fine. And then if I move over, it's going to get his other eye as well. Now here's the reason that we needed to make sure it was on a new layer. We cloned a little bit of her white dress, so I'm just going to take my eraser tool and I'm going to zoom in on this picture. Kind of shrink this, and some places where a little bit, too much came in. Just going to go and erase that. So and ta-da! Now we have a lovely picture where both of them are smiling and happy with their eyes open. Okay, so when you're happy with this, when it looks good, go ahead and do File, Save As, and we're actually going to call this one Wedding 3. And then you can save it as a JPEG. So it's going to go in here and save that. Quality 9 is fine. I don't usually like to go lower than that. And looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and use my snipping tool. New. Do edit and copy. And let's go add it to our Word document. So enter. Ta-da! Looking good. Alright, we just finished the wedding one. The next thing we're going to do is called Fixing Kate. So click and drag it in, and yes, she looks awful. She needs fixing, but you're going to go ahead and duplicate the layer. Okay, and I'll just call this Kate. Okay. Then you're going to go ahead and go up to Filter. Go down to Noise and choose Dust and Scratches. And the radius we're going to set to 5. You can see what it does. Obviously, more makes it really fuzzy, less makes it less fuzzy. Okay, so 5, you lose detail, but it's okay. Threshold is at 0. Alright. Now we're going to add a layer mask. So layer mask tool's right there. And get your paintbrush. Make sure your opacity is 100% at this point. And we're going to paint the background and her hair. Pretty much everything except for skin. Okay, so make sure you're with black. So we're pretty much getting rid of part of this picture so that the original. So just go ahead, paint over. Do not get her face yet. Just go for hair. So anything that is skin, leave alone right now. Okay, so you're just painting back in the details of her hair. And it's okay if you don't get everything. And honestly, like if you don't like these little wispies, that's when you could use the V. No, is it V? No, it's X. That's what it is. X switches between white and black. Back to paintbrush. And I could actually paint those little wispies back out. So, you know, she's not going to have any flyaways. So I'm allowing those to get blurred out again so that they're not as obvious. So, no flyaways for Kate. Now I'm going to switch it back to black. Now we're going to decrease the size and we're going to change. We're going to bring back just the details like her lips. So be careful. Try to only get the lips and the teeth. And then like her eyes. I want to bring back that detail. And for right now, that's all we're going to do. Okay, now we're going to change the opacity of the brush to 25%. So you can click and drag, or you can just type it in. 25%. And now we're going to go over little details like her nose and the curves. So anywhere that there's kind of like the curve or the edge, so we'll bring back the details of her chin. She probably needs to have an ear. She should have eyebrows. We'll bring back kind of the collarbone area. Neck. Should definitely bring back her shoulder. So if you look at this, we're basically creating a face out of black and white. That's what you should see happening. So the more you paint, the more details come back. But because we want to kind of keep her face with that, oh, we do need to bring back her nose, huh? She should probably have a nose. Because we're doing it with 25%, it's not completely unfuzzing everything. Okay, I think I need to bring a little more detail of her smile in there. Okay, so you start to see more of her face come back, but it's leaving her with that airbrushed look, which is what we're going for. Now the last thing that you can do is we're going to go to this background layer, and I'm actually going to unlock it. We're going to go up to Image, go to Adjustments, and find the Shadow / Highlights. Okay, so for this, shadow should be around 50%. It's really personal preference to a certain degree. It's a little bright to me, so I'll click and drag it down. See, though, what you want is to bring it up, though. So don't be lower than around 30, okay? And then the highlights should stay at 0. But if you play with it, you can see what that does. Highlights kind of gets rid of it. It makes it so actually everything that's dark is darker. And so we're going to leave those at 0. So if you really make it bright, that's brightening it up too much. So between 30 and 50%. Go ahead and say OK. And if you just turn off, you can see there really is a difference. She goes to basically looking airbrushed. So that's how they get that airbrushed perfect skin. So go ahead and use the snipping tool. Go ahead and new. Edit, copy, paste it into that Word document. Make sure you save that. Go ahead and File, Save As, Fixing Kate Final, and save. Okay, you're done with this one.